Department says the thieves did get away with cash and jewelry. SkyCam was overhead as LAPD officers searched the home with guns drawn.
It's just really disturbing because there's been...
Look at this SkyCam footage. Guns drawn, LAPD swarming a quiet neighborhood home. This isn't a movie set. It's a Tuesday in Los Angeles. But wait until you see the financial error a sitting congresswoman just tried to pull.
From the queen of the Somali fraudsters there, Ilhan has got some issues of her own for herself. She just got caught pulling the kind of egregiously corrupt scam that you'd expect to see in a place like Somalia. After initially filing financial documents with Congress claiming her wealth had surged to between $6 and $30 million in 2024, because of course it did, Ilhan, now facing investigations into that money, claims, oh no, I'm only worth between $18,000 and $95,000.
Okay, look at those numbers on the screen. How do you accidentally report that you're worth $30 million when you're actually worth $95,000? That's not a typo. That's a 3,500% jump in a single year. You've got to love the accounting error excuse when the feds start knocking, right? Imagine telling the IRS you thought you had 8 figures in the bank, but it was actually just a 5-figure misunderstanding. It's wild because her husband owns a winery and a venture capital firm, and suddenly these assets are just disappearing from the disclosure. You've got to keep an eye on the bottom right of that graphic where they show the corrected numbers. It's almost like they didn't expect anyone to actually read the fine print. When you're in the public eye, these discrepancies usually mean someone is looking closer than you'd like. What do you guys think? Is this a genuine mistake or a classic case of getting caught before you could hide the paper trail?
You have that issue. Then you have the issue whereby the net asset value goes from 30 million to about $1 million or so, right? Something like that, right? But at the same time, she reports income that didn't exist. So all of a sudden, her income goes from a maximum of 90,000 to a maximum of $1 million, but her asset value goes from 30.
Did you catch what the forensic accountant said? He's pointing out that she reported income that literally didn't exist. That's the cooking the books red flag right there. It's one thing to get your net worth wrong, but reporting ghost income? That usually implies you're trying to justify a lifestyle that your official salary can't support. Look at his face when he talks about net of liabilities. He's basically saying the math doesn't even exist in the same universe. It's fascinating because this isn't just a political talking point. It's a professional auditor basically calling out a total fabrication of reality. If you or I did this on our taxes, we'd be in a windowless room answering questions for 10 hours. But here, it's just another amended disclosure. Pay attention to how he compares it to other high-profile stock traders in Congress. It feels like there's a completely different set of rules for the people making the laws versus the people following them.
Yeah, but they're not net worths. They're like the asset things for the companies. And so I don't know what percentage of it my husband actually has investment in. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? It's not a full picture of the numbers in the way that it is presented in the document, because in the documents, we have to do ranges and we have to like report.
Check out her response on The Breakfast Club. She's trying to say these are just ranges and not a full picture. But wait, if the range goes up to 30 million, that implies there's a possibility of that much wealth existing somewhere in the portfolio. You can see the hesitation when she's asked point blank about her husband's investments. It's the classic, I don't know the details defense. But think about it. If your household suddenly became millionaires overnight, wouldn't you notice? You wouldn't just wake up and go, oh, I thought we had 30 million, but it's actually just enough for a used Camry. The irony here is that she's built a whole brand on being a champion for the working class, yet her financial disclosures look like something out of a Wall Street thriller. Watch her hands in this clip. That's a lot of nervous energy for someone who's just talking about simple accounting.
How to keep residents safe. Another break-in at Caravana Coffee Shop in North Hollywood, the third in the last 5 months. From business burglaries to...
Now, let's pivot back to the streets. This coffee shop in North Hollywood was just hit for the third time in 5 months. 3 times. You can see the frustration in the B-roll. Imagine being a small business owner trying to survive in LA right now. You fix the glass, restock the registers, and 8 weeks later, you're looking at the same police tape. This is why people are losing it. It's not just the big home invasions. It's the constant erosion of safety for the people just trying to run a shop. The local residents are calling for answers, but all they're getting are promises of increased patrols that nobody seems to actually see. Notice the damage on the door. It's a smash and grab job. These criminals aren't even being subtle anymore because they know the system is currently backlogged or just plain indifferent.
Another call of another home invasion within a mile away. So yeah, it's pretty scary.
Nina's Studio City home was hit in January. This week, several other homes in Valley Village were targeted.
It's your safe space, so just to think that that can happen wherever, especially here in the Valley.
Listen to Nina's voice here. She's a victim of a home invasion in Studio City, and you can hear the genuine fear. She mentions that while the police were taking her report, another home invasion happened less than a mile away. That is terrifying. Your home is supposed to be your sanctuary, but in the San Fernando Valley right now, people are sleeping with one eye open. It's interesting how she notes that you expect this in the city, but not in the valley. That suburban safety bubble has officially popped. When the people living in these nicer areas start feeling like targets, that's when the political pressure really starts to boil over for the mayor. You can see the neighborhood watch signs in the background of these shots, but as one resident said later, a sign isn't going to stop a determined intruder.
This neighborhood dog walk in North Hollywood Sunday is doubling as Neighborhood Watch.
It's nice. It's very nice to have a community. We look out for each other. It's very important right now.
The group walks their neighborhood nightly, but tonight is different. After a home they walk by nearly every...
This is what it's come to. The neighborhood dog walk has turned into a nightly community patrol. Look at the size of the group. They're literally banding together because they don't feel like the LAPD can get there fast enough. It's a great community spirit for sure, but it's also a sad indictment of the current state of the city. You've got neighbors who should be relaxing after work, instead walking the perimeter of their blocks like security guards. They're looking for vulnerabilities, checking gates, and watching for suspicious cars. It's a strength in numbers play, but it really highlights the gap between what the city officials say is happening and what the people on the ground are actually experiencing every single night.
Now becoming a key corridor for deploying resources as Mayor Karen Bass is ordering the LAPD to step up patrols along the thoroughfare so that officers are closer to respond to calls and hopefully catching the criminals.
I don't think there'll be an...
Finally, look at these increased patrols on Ventura Boulevard. The mayor says public safety is her #1 priority, but if you look at the streets in this footage, it's mostly just the same traffic and a few cruisers passing through. The residents are saying it's not enough. They want nightly, stationary patrols, not just a car driving by once an hour. There's a massive disconnect here between the 8-point plan being released by the mayor's office and the reality of a home invasion happening every other day. It's a classic case of reactive policing instead of proactive protection. Unless they change the laws to actually hold these thieves accountable, all the patrols in the world are just a temporary band-aid on a very deep wound. LA is at a breaking point, and the math isn't mathing in DC. What's your take? Drop a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.